things. It's how are you being dictated? Are you the one that's choosing how you're showing up?
Right.
Or is your emotion, your fear, that primal
Hijacking you.
completely hijacking you?
Yeah.
And that's a great way that's a self-inflicted pain, right? Self-inflicted because it's a saboteur to your own relationship.
Love that. Love that. So good. Okay, number 2, pre-existing raw spots.
I love this. We're going to hover on this a little bit,
Yeah.
because we've all got them. Pre-existing raw spot is, simply put, it's a hypersensitivity to a past experience. A pre-existing raw spot is a hypersensitivity to to a past experience.
So something happened in the past, upbringing, previous relationship, that pattern of behavior created a reaction, and then you hold on to that reaction. You bring that old garbage into your new relationship. And we got some great examples for you, because every single one of us has been through this before, where either our mom or our dad did something and it taught us a lesson that that's how our partner also likes that thing to be done, and or a previous relationship that was toxic or disconnected. You guys weren't the right fit for each other. You practice the behavior because that's what they wanted or needed, and then you bring that same stuff in the new garbage, and your partner's like, what? Why are you doing it like that?
Yeah, no, it's true. And so we can all think of times in our youth where we experienced something like this. I have a very specific story that I experienced with Brittany the first week that we were together. And this was a pre-existing raw spot that she had. So we're in my car. We lived we're moving to Houston at this point in our life. But she had these little sandals on, and we're in my car going on a long drive, and she takes her sandals off and goes to put her feet up on my dashboard. But immediately, the moment her skin touches the dashboard, she pulls them back down. And I happened to notice how quickly it had happened. So I'm like, hey, like, what happened? You're putting your foot up. Was the dashboard hot or something? And she goes on to explain to me that the previous guy that she had dated had this big diesel truck that he poured a lot of his efforts and money into, and so the truck was the baby. And she had an experience with him where she put her feet on his dashboard and he literally ripped her a new one. And so since then, she has this hypersensitivity to that action. Fast forward a couple of years, or she's in a relationship with me, puts her foot on my dashboard and immediately takes them down, like in fear that I'm going to go off on her.
Sure.
And so in that moment, I paused the moment. I said, just so that you know, I'm not a foot person, but I think you have the cutest feet. And I love the idea of you having your feet on my dashboard.
That's good.
So what you're going to do right now is you're going to put your feet back up there, and you better leave some toe marks on my windshield so that I can be thoughtful of you when you're not in the car. So I want to see those. So just me allowing to show up. And that comes back to, as partners, we are capable and designed to show up in those moments and help to heal those raw spots.
Yeah, so good. I think about so many of the guys that we coach, but the what happens to them, and this is leading into the third one, but where they will freeze or they'll fight in the relationship because that's how they were trained to interact and engage with the parents growing up. And especially the guys who were raised with a strong woman and a passive father figure. If mother was driving the results in the house, controlling, hovering, etc., that same pattern of behavior shows up where they end up being the child in the relationship rather than being the man that's leading.
Yeah.
So those raw spots are all about your personal experience and recognizing the new relationship that you're in. You have to be willing to face some of the old bad programming, change it, be conscious of it, and really allow your partner to show up for you.
For sure. And I think even as a parent, I don't think any of us, as parents, I truly believe, Erin, that all parents have really well intent in how we raise our kids.
Sure, of course.
But even as we're talking, and this is not to expose my little brother, because he is a good human, but it makes me think of his upbringing. I have a very strong mother. And the only reason I am the way that I am is because her and I butt heads. We have very similar personalities. My brother, on the other hand, is more of an introvert. And I think about his youth, that anytime we went to dinner, anytime we were any place and something was requested of my brother, my mother always spoke for him. And that was just something comfortable for her to do. And I don't think she had any intent to teach my brother not to have a voice.
Sure.
Like I said, he's very sharp. I would even say he's brilliant. But I don't hear my brother's voice very often. Now that he's in his 30s, we know what he's capable of, but it's a very rare occasion that we truly get to experience the depth of who he is.
So good.
Because he was essentially conditioned at an early age that somebody else would speak for him.
Yeah.
So that can become a raw spot as well. And just as a parent, to be very conscientious about how we are showing up for our children so that we don't create raw spots for them in the future as they grow up.
That's good. That's so good. Powerful.